Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving Resiliency. I am your host, Iris Owens, and I'm so happy that you are joining us today. But of course, we have a special guest today. But before we get there, we are on the line with my beautiful sister and co-host. Good afternoon, Honey Bunny.
Good afternoon, Honey Bunny. Good afternoon, everyone. Stephanie Deani Green.
How are you
And
doing
I'd
today?
like to, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm really excited because my sister-in-law is joining us, and she is
Hi,
Yes.
honey
definitely.
bunnies.
I
Been
don't know if
dying to say that.
You heard it too. You know what, too? You're not the only person who said that. They feel like when they get with us, they should say, "Hey, Honey Bunny."
Exactly. Y'all started something.
Exactly.
I love
Oh
it.
we're just delighted today. We've been trying to have this young lady with us for a long time, and just
Mhm.
our schedules had to line up. But now
Mhm.
she's here, and she is definitely like when you talk about resiliency, it should be her picture under the R, resiliency,
Yes.
because she is a resilient woman, and she's here today to share her beautiful story and testimony with us about her life. And I'm just happy to have you, sis, and I really appreciate you and
Thank
appreciate
you.
that we're still sisters. This is
That's right. Forever.
my husband's. I won't say ex-husband, but husband's. She's sister, and we're
Right.
so great.
That's right. We are forever.
Yeah, and
Yes.
welcome to the autopsy of her.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you
Absolutely.
very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the topic today, and I know you all, you're burning, waiting for it with anticipation. We're as Steph said, we're about to have a wonderful, wonderful show today, and our topic today is pregnant by 15, 5 by 21. So you're probably going to say, what does that mean? But so I want you to tune in, get close, because you're about to get some knowledge today. So, Steph, it's on you.
All right, so I like this. I want you to share, take us down the journey of your life. By how you got. Well, we know how you got pregnant at 15, but what was the circumstance that you feel that led up to that?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'm Eleanor Tootie Davenport.
Hi, Tootie. Welcome, welcome.
Hi, how you
Welcome.
doing? Yeah. And I when I was younger, I really didn't understand what happened. And but I moved to California when I was 22, and I didn't have any family or anything like that there. I wasn't working.
Mhm.
So I had a lot of reflection time, a lot
Mhm.
of downtime, a lot of reflection time, about things that had happened in my life. And I started reading all these self-help books and things like that, just trying to understand myself since I only had my thoughts to deal with.
Mhm.
And I decided how my life got started, and the path that it took, because I was molested.
Mhm.
And that started I'm going to say a downward spiral in my life, even though at that time I didn't understand what was going on.
Mhm.
My mom used to have this guy that used to babysit us. This is when we lived in Newark in the projects. And he was a teenager, but my mom used to let him babysit us. And what he used to do, you're a little kid, you don't know nothing. You want some cookies, right? So he would offer me cookies, to do stuff to him. And I didn't know any better. I was like in the third, fourth grade. Okay.
Mhm.
And so to me, that's what started it. And I feel like, a little kid like that, they shouldn't be thinking about sex, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So to me, that's what started my downward spiral that actually implanted that in my head. So from that point, that's how I started living my life. My
Mhm.
life at that point was like on a sexual basis from the
Mhm.
third grade. Just everything I did as far as relationships and playing, playing house and all that other
Mhm.
stuff, it
Mhm.
all started like that. That's how everything began. Now, that's how I see it. But when I was a teenager, and I had my first boyfriend, um, I still didn't know any better. All my friends, people at school, everybody was having kids, so I just decided, I want a baby too, you know. So I told my boyfriend, and we actually planned and said, let's have a baby. That's how the first one got here. It was it was actually planned. So that was when I was 15.
How old was he, Tootie?
He was 15 also.
Well.
He was my same age, yeah.
Okay.
I lived in Montclair, New Jersey at that time. And I met him through a friend. Actually, it's so crazy. I had one little boyfriend. You know how you think you got a boyfriend when you're younger, right? And I had just finally got a boyfriend because I really didn't have any friends. We moved from Newark to Montclair, New Jersey, and I really didn't have any friends. Nobody liked me, because I had short hair. And actually, I kind of was bullied for a couple of years. So finally, after you have a fight, and beat somebody up, finally I get friends.
Right. You had to stand your ground, and
I had to stand my ground.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because I had been bullied for 2 years. I mean, like bullied right in my face and everything. So
But with your sisters, you didn't have friendship. You wasn't friends with your sister. I mean, because you guys are so close in age. But
it was like everybody was in their own world, except for my let me see, she's like my third sister. I was her friend. I played with her friends. She's younger than me. So, but I played with her friends. Those were my friends because people in my grade just didn't want to be bothering me. So, but anyway, so finally, once I stood my ground, I finally got a boyfriend, and he lasted probably like a couple of weeks because he came over with this guy that he said was his cousin, and that was it for him. His cousin became my boyfriend.
Here's the reason why you don't need a wingman.
Exactly.
You take out with the hangman, with the wingman.
Yeah, and
I know that lost out.
Yeah, I really felt bad because the first guy, like I said, he was my first boyfriend. He was really, really nice. But the other guy, he was fine. It was like, how did she get him? That was the talk of the town, since I was a skag, they called me skag. So since I was a skag, how did she get him? And that's how it worked. And that was my first love, And so we had this baby. We left Montclair and we moved back to Newark. And he happened to live in Newark. But when I met him, he was going to East Orange High School and I was going to Montclair High School. So once we met, basically, I'd just say neither one of us went to school. He would stay a week at my school. Then the next week I would go at his school. It's like we were just stuck together like glue. So when we moved to Newark, he didn't live that far from me. And that's how it all started. We just stayed together, breaking all the rules in the house. I was just a fast little girl. I really was. And I wasn't the type that went out and partied all the time. I went to a couple of parties when I was in like high school, and maybe like a little party in the apartment building that we lived in when I was real little. But like during my high school years, I really wasn't partying anything like that. I was doing all my dirt at home. Okay. My dad left when we were like 13. And I was 13 and my dad left when we lived in Montclair. So basically my mom worked all the time and the house was free reign. The house was free reign basically to do whatever you want to do. And my boyfriend, he just about lived at the house. Yeah, he just about lived there every day. So we made that baby. And then there was
beautiful,
a point.
Beautiful baby. She's beautiful, but she's beautiful on the outside, but she is such a beautiful spirit.
Yeah, she is.
She was made out of love, but she's the most beautiful spirit.
Yeah, I don't regret any of them. Because
as you should not.
Right, because I have these people that love me no matter what. They still love me unconditionally. So So I don't regret anything. As a matter of fact, when I was younger, you know, I told you how fast I was. When we were playing house, I always had 5 kids.
In your playing house?
Playing house, always had 5
Before
kids.
you had kids, you always had 5 kids.
Yeah, I had 5 kids. I had their names picked out. Now I got rid of all the boys' names with little boys that I liked. Jenny, Michael, you know, stuff like that. But the girls' name I kept. I kept their names. So but
can I ask a question?
Yes,
because I clearly heard what you said, that you said you deemed yourself a fast little girl. Now, is that how you actually thought of yourself? Was that's how you labeled yourself because that's what people labeled you as?
People labeled me as that, but when I was younger, I didn't think that label on myself. I was just acting out. I was going through the motions. But then as I got older, then I said, oh, I was just a fast little girl. You know, all I thought about was sex. All I thought about was the next boyfriend. And that's all I thought about. I mean, I literally was like, okay, he don't like me, because really a lot of people just didn't like me. Okay.
I don't know why, too, because you have a beautiful spirit. Like you just, I don't know why, because
yeah, thank you.
But sometimes that's just how it is when we're younger. It's sometimes
they didn't
well, you know, it's that your ugly spirit don't like my good spirit. That's really
exactly. That's right. It's rejecting you.
Right.
But basically, they didn't take the time to know me. And even right now, people just look at my face and they say I look mean. But once they get to know me, then they know that I'm not mean. But when they just look at my face, I don't know. I guess sometimes maybe people think I'm standoffish, but I'm not. I'm really not. It's just if I don't know you, let me talk to you so you can see how I am.
Right.
So anyway, so that's what happened. I was acting out, and I did a whole lot of acting out when I was younger, because far as I'm concerned, it was what I was taught, you know, and I wasn't thinking about stopping, breaking the chain. And that wasn't in my mind because I was just too young. It was just the way my life was.
So you had your first child, you and your baby's father, and you're in the love of your life. Then you have other children with
afterwards.
This. Okay.
Right.
So please.
How many years apart was from the first baby to the second baby?
Actually it was like 10 months. So what do you call those twins?
Irish twins.
Twins, Irish twins, yes. Okay.
So they were Irish twins. So like a year later, I had my second daughter, and my mother didn't talk to us about sex. You know what I learned like in the street, and the little bees and what do you call them? The
birds and the bees.
Birds and the bees. They teach you about in school, those lies.
Right. And they didn't really teach you nothing anyway.
Right. So my mom really didn't talk to us about sex. And I know why. You know, it was her mom didn't talk to her about sex. You know, so it wasn't topic of conversation in the house. But what she did was tell me that you ain't gonna do nothing but sit around and have a bunch of kids. That's what she told me. Then she tried to get me on birth control, and I just wasn't having. I'm like, oh, I'm not getting on no birth control. You know, I think I was on birth control maybe once or twice, but at that time I just wasn't thinking about taking no pills. I don't know why. It was like, oh, your pills were over there, so what? You know. So anyway, so I had my second child, and actually, my mom wanted me to put her up for adoption. Okay. And I really didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it at all because I wanted my baby. And you know, back then we don't know if it's a boy or girl. I just knew that it was my baby and I wanted it. But I said I was going to do it. There was a point in my life, and not too many people don't know this, but when I was younger, I don't know, I just used to go haywire over boys. When I came home, I'm go back to my second child, my first child. When I came from the hospital from having my first child, there was this girl that stayed with us. Well, my boyfriend was fooling around with her right in the house. I had just came home from the hospital. Okay, so I kind of like, I broke up with him, but I had kind of like a mental breakdown. And my mom put me in the mental hospital because what I did was I took some pills, and I don't know why, you know, you do stuff for attention. I really didn't want to kill myself.
Right.
But I figured if I just take these pills, you know, maybe something will happen. And so my mom put me in the mental hospital, and I was there for about a month. Okay. And at that time, then I was 16. So I was there about a month, and you talking about your eyes opening to things in the world. And at that time, you remember that Marvin Gaye song, What's Going On?
Yes.
That song was out. And when I was in there, I saw so much stuff, but I still was on schedule to, I'm gonna go back up. So I'm gonna have an abortion. Okay. So she said, put it up for adoption. So I didn't want to do that. So now I'm gonna have an abortion. So even though I was in the mental hospital, I still was on schedule to have the abortion. So what they did was they took me upstairs and strapped me to the table. And they was like, are you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So they told me every single thing that was going to happen to the baby. They were so descriptive.
Wow.
And then they left me in the room for about 30 minutes, strapped to the table. When I laid there just thinking, I'm like, oh no. So when they came back, I was like, oh, I changed my mind. I changed my mind. I'm keeping my baby. So in the interim, I get released, and then I found out that I could have left anytime I wanted to. I didn't even know. So anyway, I got released and I went home. So now my mom wanted me to put the baby up for adoption. Here comes the adoption part. So I agreed to the adoption. And when I had her, they were supposed to take her to another floor. I wasn't even supposed to see her. So they're supposed to take her to another floor. But actually, you know, when they taken her out and brought her up, I saw her. Okay. And then they put me on the floor with the ladies that had babies, and they weren't supposed to put me on that floor. So everybody was getting their babies. I was hearing all this crying. And then finally I said, I want to see my baby. So that's how I had to keep my second baby. They came to me with the papers to sign and everything to put up for adoption, but I wouldn't do it. You know, my mom was a little upset with me, but I still wouldn't do it. So hence sweet baby number 2.
Yes, absolutely.
My second oldest daughter.
Okay.
Now the 2 older ones, they have the same dad?
Yes, they do. Oh, well, there was some confusion there. So I said that they did, but that's a whole nother part of the story. So I went throughout my life kind of really not knowing, but just basically saying that they did, okay, because they look so much alike, you know. So, but, you know, actually, after I got pregnant with her, my boyfriend had broke up with me and got another girlfriend. So while he was having another girlfriend, I was having another boyfriend, you know.
Gotcha.
So that's how that happened. So the confusion, that's where the confusion came.
Right.
So then we got back together. And then hence baby number 3. So this is 3 years straight in a row I'm pregnant. So now my mom, we lived in a really big house. They called it a mansion, but you know, I've seen mansions since. It was just a really big house. Okay.
Yes.
What was like? It was a new mansion. I know that house. I know the house.
Yeah, you know what? You seen it?
Yeah, you took me by.
Yeah, it was the biggest house.
It was beautiful. I mean, it didn't work, but it was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, coming from the projects, it was a mansion. So, but anyway, so then I got pregnant with my third child, and now I'm 17. So that's 16, 17. Well, I got pregnant 15, got pregnant, the little twins, and 16, 17, and 18. But actually, I don't know, you could almost say I have two sets of Irish twins because they were born like really, really close.
Mm-hmm.
And I had him when I was 18. So I did 16, 17, 18, 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So by then, when I get pregnant with my third child, my mom says, oh, this is enough. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She went and found me an apartment. And
I know that story.
She sure did.
Well, at least she didn't put you out on the street.
Oh, no.
At least she found you an apartment. Amen.
No,
Thank you, Mama.
She put
but she put her and her sister. She put your other sister in there with you too, right?
No, that's a whole nother story. I was just letting them stay with me. And that actually was my second apartment when the sisters started coming to stay with me. When I had my first apartment, I actually stayed by myself. And my apartment was just paraded by men after men after men. That's what I'm saying. I just was going from one man to the next. Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so we got back together, and then I got pregnant. Oh, I told you I got pregnant with this third son, got my apartment. And what my mom did was she always sold furniture. She furnished it for me with brand new furniture. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it was nice. Okay. She bought me this nice red bedroom set. And she fed me and paid my utilities for 30 days.
Okay.
And she got me a job at her store, at the furniture store.
Okay.
And then she let me loose. And that's actually when we became friends. Because, you know, I was the type, I was always saying, oh, I can't wait till I get my apartment. I can't wait till I get 18 so I can get out.
Get out of here.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yes, we've all said those words. We've all spoken those words. Lord help us.
Girl, I got that apartment.
I never spoke those words. I'll say them when I go, God, I'll be dead.
I did because I just couldn't do what I wanted to do in her house no more. Right. She was fed up with me. Right. Honey, she put me in that place, and guess what I did almost every day? Cried and cried and cried. I mean, like, not just tears.
Right.
I cried so hard that people used to be knocking on my door saying, are you okay in there? Are you okay? My uncle called me one day. He said, I came over. He said, I could hear you crying. I was knocking on the door, but you wouldn't answer the door. But I wanted to go home.
Yes. So here you are, you're a single mom with 3 children.
3 kids, yeah.
By yourself. Yes. At 18?
At 18, yes.
Yeah. So I hear you saying you crying, Tootie, but
yes.
What if you could say, like, your emotions, your feelings, your spirit self, where were you in terms of a headspace, not just missing home, but where were you in that period? What were you thinking about your life?
I was alone. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking about my life. I wasn't thinking when I was younger. I don't know. I didn't think about my future. Mm-hmm. You know, that I didn't think about my future at all. I knew that I wanted to be a nurse, but I didn't think about, oh, I got to go to college. I got to get a BA. I got to go to nursing school. None of that was in my mind at all. Mm-hmm. All I thought about was the next relationship. Mm-hmm. Okay. And how I was going to get this guy and how I was going to get that guy. And, oh, he don't like me. And I went to work. But as far as anything else, that just wasn't in my headspace. So I basically was just lonely. To tell the truth, I basically was just lonely.
Got you. Okay. And so did anyone ever know that you had been violated prior to, did anyone ever know, that you had been violated at an early age?
I told my mom, but I didn't tell her until I started working with her, because that's when we became friends, when I started working with her. And we were driving down the street one day, and I told her, And it wasn't just the babysitter, it was one of her boyfriends too. Okay. He used to just send me to the store just so I could be with him alone for a minute so he could fill me up. Okay. So anyway, I told her one day, and she said, I don't know what you're telling me for now. I can't do nothing about it. So I said to myself, she's right. She can't do nothing about it. But I felt a little hurt. You know, I was hurt with that answer. So I told her, that's what she said. And there was no detailed discussion or anything else about it. That was the end of the conversation. So to answer your question, no, nobody ever knew because I never told anybody. And when I told her, I was, I think I was 19 years old, going on 20 when I told her.
All right. So we're at baby 3. We're in our apartment by ourselves. Well, we're not really by ourselves. We have our babies with us, but in terms of another
three babies.
Yes, with 3 babies. But in terms of having someone there to be able to support you, you did not have that.
No.
So
was the baby's father coming? He was coming to see the babies or not coming to see the babies?
Well, we broke up again. We broke up again, and all of a sudden that wasn't his baby. Okay. So he basically only claimed the first one. Okay. That's the only one.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That is that's quite that's quite again, I'm hearing you, and all the things that you're saying is that regardless of what happened, and so when Steph said you are resilient, that you are, because despite all that happened to you, you never gave up. You never fell apart. You never said, I'm done with this and I just can't do it anymore. And even if you did feel that way, you still continued to press on and do what you needed to do and to live life and to take care of your children.
I didn't go back to school, but I worked. You know, whatever little job I could work. That's what I did. I worked.
And then you had your 4th child at what age?
18. Okay, I skipped a year. And then I was 18, 19. I skipped, I guess I got pregnant when I was 19 because I had him when I was 20.
Okay.
So that was the 3rd one. And that was a relationship. See, I base everything on where I lived. I had moved to another apartment and he has a whole nother father.
Was that the 3rd? That's the 4th one you mean?
That's the 4th one.
The 4th child.
Yes.
Right. So I started working at the airport.
Okay.
I was a limousine dispatcher at the airport when it first opened up.
Okay.
And I used to see this little guy walking around, pushing his broom, sweeping the floor. And he used to always say hi to me. And that's how our relationship started. Okay. And as a matter of fact, he lived right down the street from me. He was from New York, but he lived right down the street from me. So I got pregnant with him, with my son. And then the next thing you know, that's not my baby. I heard that a whole bunch. Nobody's claiming me.
Right. No one's in the partnership with you when the baby comes.
Nobody's claiming these
like you having these babies by yourself.
You're impregnating yourself.
And it's nothing in my head is thinking, why don't you stop? I hear from everybody. I go to the hospital and they say, okay, you want your tubes tied? I'm like, no, because I'm gonna get married one day. And I'm gonna have some kids from my husband. So I refuse to get my tubes tied, right?
Yes.
So it got to the point that I would leave the hospital and they would be like, okay, we see you next year. And I'm like, no, I'm not coming back next year. Okay. But then here I come back in again with my head down again. So that's
how did that make you feel? Like how, like when they said that to you at the hospital, like how did you feel? Like how did that make you feel?
Stupid and disbelief, because I'm really in my head, I'm really not coming back because I'm not having no more kids, but I'm not doing anything on a consistent basis to keep from having
Having
kids.
kids.
I'm not using birth control, and I'm still having sex. Well, I'm using birth control sporadically. Let's put it that way, because I did have pills. So, but I'm using it sporadically, you know, like when I feel like it. So, but I'll skip a day, and sometimes I just wouldn't even remember. So, but the only one that was actually on purpose was the first one. All the other ones were just, I guess I didn't care enough about myself to protect myself.
So I will ask a question. No, I'm not even going to ask a question. I'm going to make a statement, because what you said in the very beginning, and Steph knows this, we've had this conversation before, was about, you know, after you've been sexually molested, it turns on a switch that you didn't even know existed, right? Because you didn't make that decision. Someone robbed you of your innocence and turned that switch on, where you were in no way ready to behave in these manners, but this is what you know, right? And so I always say, you know, in my life, I felt like I was that girl too, right? That I felt like, you know, if you want to swing from a chandelier, that's me, bruh. Come on, let's go.
Do it.
Let's go, you know. And it's almost, and it wasn't, I don't even consider myself that I had low self-esteem. I actually felt that I was empowered. I felt that I was empowered because I felt I was controlling these situations.
Exactly.
Right? But yet, even if I was controlling them, I was still putting myself in situations that were dangerous, that were not safe, you know, that I could have, you know, had been pregnant and had multiple children. The same. It's a number of things could have happened in any of those situations. And so I always, you know, say that is the one thing that people don't understand. When you are robbed of and sexually molested, even if it's just fondling, whatever someone does to a child, right? You don't know the damage you cause, the trauma you cause, because we have no defense.
No,
and
the
other thing is that, and the other thing is that we don't have language for it, right?
Exactly.
I can't even literally intellectually tell you what someone did to me, right? But even when I do find something to say, okay, I don't like this person, right? I don't want to stay with this person. And as adults, they don't hear us. Right. Because they have entrusted or believed that this person is good enough and safe enough for you to be with, right? Or when we do say something, as you said, and someone cuts you off at the knees, like, what you want me to do? Right? What am I supposed to do with that?
Why would I believe you? Like when I was like 18 when I told my mother, and she was like, "Oh, you should have told me. I would have got rid of him. I could have got another man." But you know, so it's like, you know, so like they come out with these offbeat things, and you make you feel so small. Like, why did I even tell you in the first place? Because you felt that you wasn't gonna get what you thought, what you wanted to get from it anyway. Like I thought
I was gonna have a long conversation with her about it, but it was like less than
even if 2 minutes. I'm so sorry, honey, that happened to you. Right. You know what? Like it could have been like, yes, we can't change it now, but I'm sorry that happened to you. I wish you would have trusted me with that back then. But you know, we can't go back in the past, but let you know that I feel you, you know. You know, not like, oh, you know, like they're just kind of like, so I know that feeling. It's not a good feeling.
Right. And well, many times it's also
boys.
I'm sorry.
It affects boys just as much as it affects girls. Also.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Right.
Absolutely. I also think that the other side of that is that the common thread ends up being the man. The man ends up being the focal point, whether it's your mom who is, you know, doing a blind eye to whatever is going on, or it's the boyfriend that she's like, I don't believe he would do something like that, whatever it is, or it is a situation where your mom may have experienced the same thing in her life and she never told either, you know, and so she's carrying this baggage her whole entire life. But it's interesting that as women or as young people, women, young boys, young girls, that people don't hear us. They don't listen. We don't have a voice. I think it's the most invading trauma of our lives, that when we are taken advantage of by somebody who, quote unquote, was supposed to be a trusted person in our lives. Because
someone's supposed to protect you.
Yeah, someone's supposed to protect you, because sometimes what it does for us is that we then we think that our strength is in, well, I survived that.
Exactly.
And so instead of me being victimized, I become the aggressor. So I go looking for boys. I want the boy because this is in my head. This is my worth.
Exactly.
In my head, this is my worth, because I don't have anybody necessarily saying you're more than that. Right?
No,
I don't have anybody telling me that what is great about me or what's good about me. And I'm in this world, as you said, you know, Tootie, that you didn't have friends, that people didn't. So for whatever people were not drawn to you, you were also lonely. And out in this world trying to navigate, you know, all of this.
I'll tell you one thing. When I moved out, when I stayed with my mom before I moved out on my own, I did have one friend, but her mom really didn't want her with me because I had kids. But she just don't know. That girl was kind of loose too, and she's still my friend to this day.
Yes, right.
I don't know. It wasn't just me.
Right.
He introduced me to some stuff that I didn't know nothing about.
Right.
Okay. And then I got another friend when I moved, and she's still I call her my sister to this day. When I moved to my first apartment, and as a matter of fact, I went upstairs one day to talk to the manager, and there was my other friend that lived in the same building. So I wind up having two friends in that building. But through most of my my life, I was, especially my early life, all my friends were guys. Okay. All my friends were guys, and then these guys turned out to wanting to be something else. And when I think back on my life, and I had never thought about it until I got older and they started that Just Say No movement, I thought about it. I was raped more times than I even remember.
Yes.
Because I did say no so many times to a lot of these so-called guys that were my friends.
Yes.
You know, so, and even thinking back on how it reflects on your life, just thinking about today that I was going to have to do this show, I started thinking about it. And like you said, it sticks with you. And all of a sudden, I got this aroma in my nose. And the aroma was the guy's little organ that used to make me do oral sex on him. All of a sudden, I got this aroma, just knowing that I was going to have to talk about it. And I'm like, that was him. And look how many years ago that is.
Yes. Trauma doesn't leave. Trauma will hang on as long as you let it ride.
Right. I know that I've had many partners since then, but I know since I was thinking about it, I know that aroma was him.
Right.
You know. So, but
key word being he wasn't a partner.
Oh no, I was a kid.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Keyword being
like 8, 9 years old.
Exactly. He wasn't a partner, which means you didn't give consent. So what I'm saying is that that's a whole nother So child number 4, and then this person says this is not my baby. What do you do with that then?
I just keep it moving. Yeah, I heard it before.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It hurt, but
yes.
I just keep it moving. I'll move on to the next guy.
Okay.
That was my pattern. Move on to the next guy. As a matter of fact, sometimes I had like 2 and 3 at one time. That's why that confusion was there. And during that time, I had 2 and then 3. So at one time. So now, shoot, I actually think it was 4. Okay. I actually think it was 4 because I did have this one guy that I was crazy about, but I ain't had no kids by him, thank God. But so now I move on to the next guy, and he actually was a good friend. Okay. And actually we're 2 friends. Okay. And just like the little guy that I had like in the 8th grade, well, I was in the 9th grade when he brought his friend over. So this guy, he had his friend, but I really wasn't having a relationship with him because he was like a family friend's boyfriend. Okay. He was like a family friend's boyfriend. So he had a friend. So I liked him for a little while, but then I started getting the interest in the family friend's boyfriend, but they wasn't boyfriend and girlfriend anymore.
Right.
So anyway, we started a relationship and I was crazy about this guy. And he turned out to be the nightmare as far as my emotional well-being is concerned, because I was so in love with him and we were going to get married. I ain't had a ring yet, but we were supposed to get married. Okay. And I didn't know I was pregnant. We were supposed to get married. And then I found out I was pregnant. And the next thing I know, he said he was getting married. I'm like, I thought we were supposed to get married. He was a contractor, and his mom had introduced him to this girl. This is what he said. Okay, you know you gotta be half what you hear, right?
Right.
His mom had introduced him to this lady that was supposed to be good for his career. You know, he did like aluminum siding on houses, and supposedly she knew all these people that could help his career. And so they were supposed to get married, and there I went into my deep depression again, because now I found out that I'm pregnant. Okay. And I was so depressed, but honey, when I tell you I acted out, I went all the way with it. I acted out. I wasn't invited to the wedding, but I found out when the wedding date was.
Oh Lord.
I showed up at the wedding.
Tootie? Wait, you went, Tootie?
She showed up at the wedding. Oh Lord.
Tootie, what you do?
Girl, you know, I was supposed to do one of those. Anybody that to this wedding? That was my plan. Girl, I went and bought me a new outfit. Wait a minute. Hold on, my battery. Hold on.
Oh my God. What was that song? What was this song? This is your the lady who passed, the singer who passed away.
Yes, I know. Yep. I know the song you're talking about.
Wait, let me make sure my battery is not gonna die. I just plugged it in.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I know.
No, don't go anywhere. There you go.
Hey, there you go. You're back.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Tootie?
Okay, yes.
Okay, awesome.
I had to log back in, but let me make sure this battery is charging.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, now it's charging. Okay.
Okay, so we get an outfit. We're going to a wedding.
I show up at the wedding, and my thing was to just disrupt that whole wedding and tell everybody I'm pregnant and no, he's supposed to marry me, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, so I get there, right? And his mother was like one of those holiness preachers.
Oh, okay.
So I get there and she says, the devil was in this house. Okay. She says the devil was in this house and she had them escort me out.
OMG.
Had them escort me out in front of everybody. Okay.
Have mercy.
Yep. So then I go home and then I fall back into that deep depression. You know, I didn't show out or I didn't show up on my way out or anything like that. Yeah, I was really sad about it. So let me tell you what he did. And I'm not proud to admit this, but this is what I did. This is why I say he turned out to be kind of like a nightmare relationship in me. He moved down the street from me. Like a block later. And this man, I'm just gonna say this man was in my life until, let me see, I was 20. So I left California. I mean, I left New Jersey when I was 21. And actually, I kind of moved so I could get away from him because he would not leave me alone. You know. So, but like I said, I got my little chocolate drop because all my kids are light skinned, you know, and growing up, nobody really thought they were mine because I had a friend, she was real light skinned and they always thought hers. So I finally got my little chocolate son, and that's my fifth one. I call him my chocolate bun bun. I have little fruit names for all of them. My oldest daughter is Cherry Berry. Then I have my strawberry shortcake. It's my second daughter. Then I have my banana split. It's my first son. And then I have my coconut kiss. It's my third son. And then I have, wait, I skipped somebody, didn't I? So I named 4, right?
That was 4.
Okay. Then my last one is my chocolate bun bun. Those are my little sweet names for them.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So hence, that's how I got 5 kids, you know, really not knowing that I was doing exactly what you said, exercising my power. Because while I'm chasing all these men, when I finally get them, I feel like energized.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Until they leave me.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And leave you with a present.
With a gift.
Yeah, with a present, a broken heart, and just a messed up mind, you know? So once I finally had my last kid, he was there at the hospital, and he never said it wasn't his. That's one thing about him. He never said it wasn't his, and he couldn't deny it if he wanted to because it's like I spit him out. Okay, so he showed up at the hospital, but he was never in his life. He never did anything for him. Okay. The only thing he ever did was one time I went from California to visit New Jersey, and I think he probably was about 5 or 6 then. And he came over with some shoes that didn't fit. Then he took the shoes back and said he was going to bring them back the right size and never did. And then he took him and said he was going to keep him for a week. Well, he took him. He was still married, still doing the same stuff. Okay. He didn't take it to his house. He took it to his girlfriend's house and just basically left him there for a week. He wasn't even there. So I have all these guys that actually never did anything for their children. And then sometimes I think about it, why didn't I make them pay? A lot of them didn't work. So that's one reason for one of them. But why didn't I make them pay? I never got child support or anything like that from anybody. You know, so it's basically me. Just basically struggling to make ends meet. That's how I lived my life, struggling to make ends meet, but I was always doing something. I did have some down times because once I was 17, after I had my third child, and that's when I was introduced to drugs. So I had a lot of downtime, but even during that time when I was on drugs, I was still trying to do stuff for me. I was functional. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, back then, you know, drugs was like smoking weed, taking pills, stuff like that. So, and I actually got introduced to that by my first boyfriend. during the period of time when we were getting back together.
Mm-hmm.
He actually came over one day, and when I was in high school, I didn't smoke weed. I was always like the lookout. I'm never doing that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he actually came over one day. We had broke up, and I just wanted to please him. You know, I wanted to do what he wanted me to do to please him, so he could get back together with me. That's my way of thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I smoked this weed. And then I started moving in slow motion. And they sent me to the store downstairs. Well, while I was downstairs, he was upstairs trying to fool around with my girlfriend. I didn't even know that. So, but anyway, so say all that to say, that's how I lived my life, always trying to progress and trying to do something for myself, you know, despite that I had these 5 kids. But even when I had my kids were little, I kind of like lost them a little bit because I was always trying to be so busy, you know, trying to be so busy, trying to bring money in. And a lot of times I really wasn't bringing money in because I got my real estate license when I was 27. And so I went from staying home all the time to working and selling real estate. And it was really rough the first few years. So I really, like I said, I was gone a lot, but I was bringing in money, but not a whole bunch, you know? So.
And how I know you had other relationships after you had your 5th child, and then you never had any more children after that.
Oh, when before I left the hospital with him, I'm like, y'all better tie these shoes.
You're like, yeah, I'm done now. Thank you.
Look, here I am, 20 years old, getting my tubes tied. Okay.
Susan said, listen, now we are ready, all the way ready.
Look, if I get a husband, he's gonna have to have these 5 kids right here. And that was a struggle, you know, trying to get somebody to take me and have 5 kids. And when I got them, they was the wrong person.
Yes.
You know, they didn't get me because you know, I was on AFTC assistance and stuff like that. So, you know, I never was the type to go in my pocket and give men money, you know, because they thought I had all these kids, that I had all this money. But, you know, your checks is real, real small when you want AFTC. You don't get nothing. So they thought I had all this money and I was going to be giving it to them and stuff like that. So I've never been the type, to this day, I don't give men money. Okay. But they reaped other benefits. They got to come there. They got to eat. They got to sleep. You know, they got to play house. You know, all the stuff that still say you gave them money. You know what I mean? So.
Yes. Yeah. So Tootie, with all that, with how it played out, what have you said to your daughters and your sons about just life in general?
Man, when I talk to my kids, I do have deep conversations with them. I will say that. I do have conversations with them, conversations that I wish my parents had said to them. Now, when they were growing up, I kind of lost them for a few years. And I hate to say it, but it was during the years that they needed me most, like their preteen years. You know, I was just running the street trying to sell this house, stuff like that. So I lost them 4 years, and they basically started to, my boys started going over here, my girls started, they started going other places to find mother, you know, because I wasn't home. So, so I lost them. But in their adult years, you know, they still love me.
Absolutely.
They still love me no matter what mistakes I made. They tell me all the time, because sometimes I start getting in my head, you know, oh, I wish you could have did this when you were young. Oh, I wish you could have did that. And they're like, Mom, stop. You know, you were a kid. Okay?
Yes.
We know you were a kid. You didn't know how to be a mother, and I really didn't. You know, I was just doing what I thought needed to be done. So, but I have a great relationship with all my kids. When we talk about their relationships. You know, I give them advice. Sometimes I give them advice they don't even want to hear. You know, sometimes they don't even call me back because they know what I'm going to say. But my daughters, we talk about relationships that they have or that they don't have, you know, and one of my daughters, she has 5 kids. Okay. She had 6. one of my daughters, my granddaughter passed away, so she would have 6 kids. But when she had her first kid, I didn't do her like my mom did me. Mm-hmm. I told her, look at my life, see all the mistakes I made. You're not going to be like me. You're going to do something for yourself. You're going to do something for yourself. Okay, so she made this mistake. And each time I still encouraged her, it's not too late. You still can do this. You still can do that. It's not too late. You're not going to be like me. It's not too late. You still can do something with your life. So I just continue to encourage her. I still encourage her to this day. You know, she's like kind of in a slump right now, especially since her daughter passed away. It was really, really hard for her. It was hard for the whole family.
Yes, absolutely.
So, but I do talk to my kids about everything. You know, sometimes they don't want to talk to me, but eventually they'll all come and talk to me about situations going on in their life. And that's one thing that I do like. I enjoy talking to them. I enjoy them opening up to me and talking to me about their life. I mean, that's one thing they can't say, that I don't talk to them about stuff, because I do. Yes. That's one thing they can't say. They can't say what I said. Okay.
Yes.
How many grandchildren do you have?
Okay. Now I used to include all the daughter-in-laws and stuff like that, but I'm going to take all them out and just basically say I have I got about 21 grandkids.
Okay.
And I got about 21 grandkids, and I probably got about the same for great grandkids.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. I have a lot of grandkids.
Your tribe has grown.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. From 5 kids, look at what you have created. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I do. That's a beautiful thing.
I don't get to see them all the time. I don't have any. I live here in Florida, and I don't have any of them that live here.
Okay.
I've been here about 4 years now. So, but I moved to California when I was 22. Well, I turned 22 the next week, and that's when I really started my real estate career. And then 4 years ago, I moved here to be closer to my mom. So, you know, and Stephanie, she passed away. So I'm here now, and I miss my life in California. I just run around selling real estate because I don't have a license here. But here I sell health insurance. I sell mostly Medicare. Like this right now, it's my busy season. Well, it's starting to be the busy season. Right now, we're doing a whole bunch of training and things like that, trying to get ready for AEP. But I have some other things that I would like to do as well.
I was going to say, what's in the second quarter and the third quarter? What's
she's a hustler now with a capital H. You're a hustler now with a capital H.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to put a little oomph to that hustle. I'll tell you the truth, I need a little bit more oomph. But anyway, I have something else in my head that I want to do. I just need to put it down on paper. And I really feel like I need to be doing something real estate related. Okay. I don't have a license here, so I've been thinking of things that I can do that's still real estate related that can help people. I'm thinking of a company to start, and it's going to be called Before You Sell. Before You Sell, and I don't want to step on the borderlines, but a lot of people, us. We go talk
wholesaling. Is that wholesaling?
Or that too, because I have another thing going too out in the Dominican Republic that I'm starting. But us as real estate agents, we go to somebody's house, inspecting all the other stuff. But a lot of times they tell us they want to do this, they want to do that, they want to do this, that, and the other. And they really don't want to see us until they get a lot of that done. So I'm thinking of a company where I can just come in and advise before you sell.
Right.
Okay, I do that. I never thought about a name for it, but I do. Okay, that's
before you sell.
that's
So
right.
anyway,
A lot of people don't know what
so
to do,
no, they don't, and they really don't want to see no real estate agent.
and they focus on the wrong. They do the wrong things.
Yes.
Yeah, they do the wrong things. And me, um, I'm still licensed in California, so I've actually had my license now for 35 years. Even though I'm not practicing there. Yeah, even though I'm not practicing there, I do referrals.
Yes.
Okay. So so I know everything to do. You know, when we go to a house, what do? Before we start talking price or anything like that, you go in, you inspect. First, I inspect the whole outside of the house. You know, and with the years of experience that all of us had, we know things to look for on the outside of the house. Okay. And you know what to look for on the inside of the house. So I'm going to be that person, and I have something else going where I'm going to take it to the next level also. And then if they want to sell, then I can get a referral.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm also an international sales agent with Keller Williams in Dominican Republic.
Oh, okay.
They have a lot of Airbnbs. I'm a member of this group on Facebook called Be Niched. And the lady that started it, she's building a lot of Airbnbs, and there are other developers also over there that are building Airbnbs, and you get more for your money there. Not only do you get more for your money there, they have this thing called the Comfort Tour. As long as you build in those areas, you don't even have to pay taxes for the first 15 years.
Wow.
And another reason why I'm over there is because I'm not licensed. And in the Dominican Republic, you don't need a real estate license to be a realtor.
Okay.
All you have to
Maybe we're going to the DR.
Yeah. All you have to do, I talked to Stephanie about it already. All you have to do is take your certification test, and you can be on your own over there without connecting with a real estate broker. Or why would you do that if you don't live there? You don't know the area. So I associated myself with Keller Williams there.
Okay. That's awesome. You are awesome. You are awesome. I just really appreciate you and just your vulnerability and your honesty, because like I said, when we first got on earlier, that this is sometimes what someone else needs to hear, that they're sitting in the same seat that you were sitting in at some point in time in life, or they're sitting in one of our seats that we were sitting in before. And when we are willing to share, when, you know, we help somebody else realize that they can do more, they can be more, they can move on, right? This is not the end of their story. And so it's real important that we are willing to share. Of course, you have to share with people who are willing to hear.
Right, exactly.
One, and people who are willing to be honest about their situation. But I think
if not to anyone else, even just to themselves. A lot of people are honest with themselves, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, they live in a lot of pain, and you know, and it's everybody else's fault except for you.
Right.
You know, you have to heal yourself, and you have to forgive yourself also, and forgive, you know, our parents and the people that have harmed us also, so you are able to move forward. Because 9 times out of 10, when someone is messing with you, someone has already messed with them too.
Exactly. And I forgive my mom. I forgive my mom because how she was raised, she didn't know how to talk to us because she wasn't taught to.
Right.
You know, so I understand. Then I didn't understand, but I do understand now. You know, they were raised up.
Your mom had 9 babies. Your mom had 9 babies.
She had 9 kids. Exactly. Her mom was over here. But when you little, you ain't thinking about that. You're just thinking about your own little world that you're in.
Right.
You know, you don't know what they're going through with the other kids.
As you should.
Right.
You know,
as you should. As you should.
Right. A child. You know, that shouldn't fall on you.
Yeah, and then when you tell your story, like today, I'm telling a part of my story. Okay, there's a whole lot more. You can't tell everything in an hour 45 minutes. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So try to get to the nitty gritty, knowing there's a whole lot of more meat to the story. Okay. And I've been saying for years that I want to write a book, you know, but my mind just won't let me write it. I started writing it. If I could find somebody that would just let me talk.
Yes.
And write my story like that.
There is such a thing. There is such
a thing. That's really what I need, because I can't concentrate long enough to sit down and write my story. I get distracted. I don't think I picked it up in so many years, you know, so, but I know there's a story to tell.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So if I can find somebody else's life. Yeah, that would just listen to me and just write everything down, you know, I would love that. You know, or
they have a computer program that does do that too. You know the computer program? It's a computer program.
I don't know the name of it, but yes, I have heard of it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know the name of it. It's a computer program that does that.
Yes.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Then I could just talk.
And what I love is that you show, again, like I said, resiliency, but also how you evolved, right? You just kept on evolving. You never stopped moving. And then also when we do things like this and we talk from our heart and share our stories, and like I said, that vulnerability, that's where our healing begins too.
Right.
You know, a lot of times when we have been able to release it, because I always say, you know, the inside of, like last week, I think I told Steph and some of my other friends, I was like, man, my head voice is so loud this week. It was like, it was just loud. My head voice. It's like you'd be like, can you be quiet? Can you please stop talking to me? I need you to stop talking to me right now. Like, I don't want to hear you anymore. But you know, that is all when we are so weighted. We are carrying so much weight, and we're, you know, we put on that, you know, that armor, and we go out in the world every day. I got this. Got it, right? I got the S on my chest.
I am your superwoman.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, without that armor, because I'm gonna tell you, I don't know where I would be if I wasn't a member of the church.
Amen.
I would be a whole lot. I would be in a worse situation. Leaving California and just always maintain it. I mean, there was years that I backslid, that I just didn't even step into a church house, or even pray, read Bible, nothing. There was years that I lived my life like that. And I'm gonna tell you, I actually smoked marijuana until I was like in my 40s. Okay. I had a situation come in where God just changed my life. I was using marijuana. I was like sniffing speed. I was doing a whole bunch of stuff, but I was still like functioning, trying to be out there hustling and stuff like that. You know, so a lot of times I was working, but I wasn't going nowhere. So, but God put me in a situation that let me know, you better slow your roll. And that was the changing situation for me. I had went to LA with a friend of mine to somebody's house, and I was in their bedroom sick for a whole weekend. And I kept telling them I was sick, but they were laughing at me. They didn't believe I was sick. If I was faking. Anyway, so finally I drove her home, and then I creeped through the mountains in San Bernardino and drove myself to the hospital. And there I was in the hospital for 8 days. I had walking pneumonia, but when I went in there, I spilled my guts to the doctor. I told them everything I was doing. Just heal me. Just don't let me die.
Yes.
So what they did was they came in the room. They started taking turns on me. It's like, oh, so you smoke a little weed, huh? Next thing I know, the other doctor would come in. Oh, so you sniffing a little speed, huh? I was so skinny. I was like bones. And they asked me, like, do you eat? I'm like, yeah, I eat. I guess I wasn't eating enough.
Right.
Anyway, so they put me in a room with this lady, and two ladies before her, and they kept saying, close the curtains, close the curtains. So finally they left, and they put me in the room. This Black lady came in the room, and I don't know what happened. This is what saved my life, okay? God put me in the room with this lady to let me see if you don't change your life, okay? So on my way to the hospital, I had the cigarette I was trying to smoke, because I smoked since I was 12. And I had the cigarettes trying to smoke for like 2 days. So I was so weak. So I threw it out the window. I said, I'm never going to smoke again. So they put me in a room with her. And I told her, you know, I stopped smoking. I ain't gonna smoke no more. So she said, oh, you could do it. You could do it. She encouraged me. So she was so sick that she kept calling the nurse and they didn't want to come. They was out in the hallway laughing and joking. She didn't have no visitors. And so I became like, you know, a little proxy nurse doing stuff for her and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And people were walking around. We were on the respiratory ward. Everybody walking around with a little respirator machine, but they all going outside to smoke, right? So I'm like, don't they know where we are? We cannot breathe. And they still trying to smoke. And my mind's like, I am not gonna smoke no more.
Smoke through the neck.
Exactly.
So you could blow up. You could blow up somebody.
And I'm like, they are crazy. I'm like, I'm done with cigarettes. Okay, I want to live.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so one day I got out of hospital in the 8 days. So I lived close to the hospital. So I continued to visit her every single day. And one day I came and she wasn't in her room. And they told me they put her in intensive care. So I go to intensive care. So now I had to fake like I'm her sister. Okay. So I tell my sister and I go in the room and I visit with her. And still nobody visits her. She did have a son because she gave me her son and her daughter's phone number. The daughter never answered the phone. The son showed up one time, but he was just out in the hallway flirting with the nurses, right? So anyway, so all of a sudden, all these people from LA come and start visiting this lady. So she was really, really loved. She was a loved woman. Yes. But if you looked at the outside, it was like nobody cared about her. So finally, they all left. And I continued to stay there because they started saying, well, who's going to spend the night with her? Who's going to spend the night with her? So my mind was like, yeah, y'all can leave. I'm going to stay here, right? So anyway, I stayed with her. But the bottom line was that one day I was so tired. I watched them revive her like 2 times. And I could see the pain on her face. So I went out in the hallway and I prayed and I asked God to take her so she wouldn't no longer have to endure this pain. It was like about an hour later, I started hearing the family of blank, blank, the family of blank, blank. And I'm like, oh, that's me. Then they told me she passed away. Okay. So up until that point, I had always thought I was afraid of dead people. But I went in the room and I looked at her. I got up in the bed with her and went to sleep because I just felt like I had loved her, you know, because she just showed so much genuine care for me and she didn't even know me. Yeah. So I felt like God put me in that room with her so I could see, because it turns out, because I went to her funeral, everything. They made me ride in a white limousine with the family and everything, right? She had lung cancer. She had lung cancer. And I didn't even know it. So I feel like God put me in that room with her. And I had to always tell this story at the end of everything, because I feel like if I smoked for 26 years, if you smoke, you can stop too. Okay. Amen. Even though it took a life-saving situation, because I had stopped a couple of times. I had self-hypnosis, and I just tried to stop on my own. But that right there, yes. Okay.
Yes.
That was a wrap. That was it.
That was a wrap. Listen.
That was it. I stopped using drugs. I stopped smoking. I do everything, and I've been clean and just trying to progress and move on ever since.
Amen.
You know, so that's my testimony to you smokers out there. You don't have to smoke. You just gotta have a will. My friend of mine told me, and I prayed and I asked God, if you keep the cigarette out of my hand, I keep the cigarette out of my mouth. That's how I go.
Amen.
Man, for sure.
Judy, I love you.
Thank you very much.
I could listen to you
guys too. I love watching y'all.
I could listen to you for hours right now. I'll tell you, you will be back.
Yes, I will.
You will be back. We're going to help you get to the point of putting your words onto paper, or however you're gonna do it. So this is your platform. This is your platform to start.
That's why I'm here, because I know this will be the stepping out that I need to do, because since I've been in Florida, it's like, I don't know, it's like I lost something.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, I lost something. I haven't put my footprint around Florida the way I should. I lost something. So this is me getting back out there and just telling the world my story. And I saw your story a few weeks ago about the girl that was pregnant at 40.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that so much. I enjoyed your questions with her. I enjoyed her conversation. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now they need to hear about 5 by 19. Right. And the reason why it's pregnant at 5, I let that for your story, but the reason why it's 5 by 21 is because when I write a book, that's going to be the name of it.
I got it.
Okay.
I got
5 by 21. So
I got it.
I said say that.
I got it. And so she has, this will be her 5th child too.
Yes.
How crazy. Yes. This will be her 5th child in less than, well, she had 2. Then she met her husband, then she got pregnant, then she got pregnant. She had Irish twins, and now she's ready.
But she's on a roll, okay? She on a roll, and she got some support, and he ain't saying, "Oh, that ain't my kid," okay? He's thinking,
no. He's like, "Those all mine."
Let me put a ring on it, okay?
Kids, yes, all his babies.
Right. So yeah, but I enjoyed her story so much.
Well, thank you, and that is a testament to how we inspire one another, right? Because you listened in, and it allowed you, it moved you to say, I'm going to share my story. So we thank you so much. Exactly. Oh my God, I have enjoyed you so much. Thank you.
I enjoyed you guys too. And I really appreciate you guys, just giving me the opportunity to tell my story, platform, put it out there for the world to hear, no shame in my game. And I was
there should not be.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous at first, but like I told her before you came on, I put my little Paul Hardcastle on and just mellowed out and got my coffee and was ready. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Steph,
you,
you have any final words?
This woman was always welcoming to me when I came into this, even before I came into the family. We just connected, on my phone, because I can honestly say I did not actually meet her until my wedding day.
Right.
But we just connected. And
it's her energy.
It isn't.
I love it.
We have always connected, And I never forget, one day I was talking to your oldest daughter, and she was like, "So, I'm working at having a baby." She was like, "Well, I do Reiki, but I'm trying to save all my Reiki energy for me, because she's an actress,
right?"
And she was like, "I'm gonna send you some energy." And I swear, after that child gave me that energy, I got pregnant with Savannah. She sent me that was all into Reiki. She sent me that Reiki energy. It was a whole nother day.
Yes, Reiki is real, baby. Don't sleep on the Reiki, baby.
I don't. I tell you, that's one of the things I do want to do is a Reiki master, because you could just, even if you don't do it for nobody else, you can learn to heal your own self.
Yes,
so, yes. That energy is real. But you have been a blessing in my life.
Thank you. And you've been a blessing in my life too. Just like you said, just the energy. That's why I enjoy talking to her. She's always positive.
Yes, she is.
Always positive and always have good conversation.
Yes.
Some people just want to talk to you. They just be blah, 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 blah. Right. Stephanie got stuff to say.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She dropped those nuggets of wisdom a lot.
She do. She has stuff to say, and that's why I enjoy talking to her.
But when she came to stay at our house, and we were all like in the family room, I don't know if you remember, her brother had fallen asleep, and me and her, we just up there running our mouths. You remember we talked?
Exactly. Yes, we did some talking. Didn't he get up and come and check on us when we were still in there?
Well, no, he was on the couch. Then he went upstairs, but he was knocked out.
Okay.
Like, y'all still talking?
He said, "Y'all just keep talking. I'm going to bed. Never mind."
Exactly. And she was like, "Oh, they should. Nobody comes to see y'all." I was like, "Nobody don't come to see us. They can come, but they don't come." She's like, "Oh, you were still in California at the time." You said, "I'll be coming over here all the time."
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That was a nice house. It was nice and quiet and peaceful.
Yes.
It was a good place to get away from the rat race.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, guys, thank you all so much. We want to thank our guests for tuning in today. We hope that I don't hope, I know you gained wisdom and knowledge today. If you did not, then you were not listening. So if you need to, go back and play it again. You know, find what addresses your issues and what you may need to learn from this. But thank you so much, Tootie. Love you so much. Really appreciate you. And Steph, as always, honey bunny, thank you so much. And so, guys, enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, sis. I really, really appreciate you. I love you.
Bye,
so
honey
much.
bunnies.
Bye, honey bunny. Okay.